How you guys doing on Sunday? I'm doing pretty good. Doing some updating on my lawsuit. So I kind of wanted to take the time to talk to you guys a little bit about the recusals that have been going on my family law matter. I am now coming up on my fourth judge. Um, Now here's one of the issues that occurred, and I'm not necessarily, well, it is kind of the judge's fault somewhat, but the two judges that we have in question that work in family law, they haven't had a whole lot of experience in family law. They're new judges. And I tried to give them some leeway in the beginning. I tried to show them things that I've researched and things that I know. So I'm kind of at an advantage because I came in learning family law. They came in over 10 years of being working in criminal law. So there's probably some bad habits there that you're not necessarily supposed to transfer over to family court. Family court is about families. It takes a little bit more sensitivity. It doesn't, like, you can't be siding with one person or another. Also, in criminal courts, there's a significant amount of felons and criminals in criminal court, obviously. So rights aren't really like something that you really have to be concerned about. I mean, you do it a little bit, but not like to the extent of family law, because in family law we have two parents that may have never don't have any criminal charges. They have all their rights, gun rights, everything. So in the beginning of this, what had happened was, the reason why the last judge recused himself, and I can say right now, and if he does see this, he sees this, but I can say right now that it's the very last time I saw that judge in court, just actually not that long ago. That's the Beiersdorf, that's the judge that I knew when I shook his hand when he was running. I saw it in his face. I saw he was tired of this case. I got the feeling that I actually started to see some empathy in him, which is really rare to see in a judge, because usually judges don't have empathy, or they do when they start off and then it kind of gets gnarred away. But I could tell that he was very mellow. He was super mild, and that's how he normally is in court. Like, he doesn't usually do family law matters. I was moved there because Hallie Campbell was recused. So it made me feel kind of bad about that recusal, because that recusal was pretty rough. Although, like, I'll be honest, he's been a total jerk in the beginning. Like, but I know why. I mean, I have a feeling it was and they're not supposed to do this. I get it, but they're humans. I think I think he felt like he was going to come in like the white knight because Hallie'd been having so much difficulty. Here's the reason why they're having difficulty with me is because I'm standing my ground for my constitutional rights that they're supposed to be protecting anyways. So what's going on is Hallie sees Juley in the courtroom all the time, and all the other judges, and they could either have a personal friendship outside of the courtroom, which is what I've been told, and I have video evidence to prove some of it, or it's the fact that they just see each other a lot, and it's just they naturally lean that direction. I get it; those are both human. But the thing about it is, when it's addressed, when it's brought to the court as a problem, don't keep compounding it, especially when it has to deal with custody of a child. Because now we're in a situation where from the very start, so in the very beginning of this, ultimately, if you back out and you look at the big picture, or what they call the totality of circumstances, which is what they don't take into consideration when I'm in court for something of mine, but they take into consideration when it's for Olivia or Juley, which isn't equal protection under law. So basically, I was enjoying life. I had half custody of my boy, which I filed for. I was making pretty good money, and we were co-parenting just fine. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I don't know what happened to her or what was going on, but she started making these crazy false allegations during exchanges that didn't even occur, like out of thin air, literally. Like, I would set her down. Like, it got to the point where I was just not even talking to her at exchanges. I would step back and I would let her put Carter in the car. Well, for some reason, this persisted, and I told her, I said, look, you're exhibiting narcissistic personality disorder, and here's a link that shows all the symptoms. I'm like, you've done all this. Well, as you know, people who have narcissistic personality disorder don't like constructive criticism. And I have copies of the emails to prove it, that I tried to open up a dialogue with her and she ignored it. I have all this evidence. I have proof that she did it to Garrett too. I have text message correspondence between them too. And she tried to do the exact same thing with Viviana and Garrett. So you can't sit here and tell me that all of your guys are crazy and you're the only one that remains the same in all relationships, but all your relationships in the same way. That's just that's psychotic. That's way disconnected. So anyways, back on topic. So what happened is basically this whole, and hopefully the district court will see this, that because I have all the evidence to show anybody with a fucking normal brain and common sense will see what's going on. So when I was charged with a 1-year domestic violence restraining order for disturbing her peace based on the fact that I called her a narcissist and said she has a toxic ego, I think after the year of what's been shown, I think that's probably pretty much a true statement at this point, which means it's protected speech because it was a legitimate concern, and it was a legitimate concern then. In fact, I have proof that Pimentel lied on those court minutes because he tried to claim that I said I was going to write a book about her mental disorder or mental issues, and that I was going to write a book about it. That's not what the text message says. It was a picture of me holding Carter and said this would be great for the back of a book I'm writing. That's all it said. And she took it upon herself to think it's about her because she exhibits narcissist personality disorder. And so what happened was, because I didn't commit any crimes, I did nothing wrong, Juley had nothing. She picked up a frivolous case that she wasn't supposed to pick up. And so what did she do? She created a narrative that didn't exist. She started like bringing in bodyguards like Oscar Martinez and Diego Martinez. So they jumped on the bandwagon to create this false scenario, this false narrative that I'm this dangerous person in a court where they have metal detectors, for Christ's sakes. And so that was stupid on their part. I don't even know why. I mean, I guess $20 is $20, right? But that being said, well, you guys were getting paid. The judge was seeing you in there, and also with you, Diego coming forward and say, "Oh yeah, he was in the parking lot." Okay, thanks for contributing to deprive me of constitutional rights to have my child. So, anyways, and so I really appreciate you coming down to the courthouse and throwing a hissy fit because of what you did to me. Okay, fucking idiot. So, and I'm taking him off the lawsuit anyways, but. Nonetheless, I was going to do it before he even came down to the courthouse. But anyways, back on topic. Nonetheless, she finally, basically, I was defending myself, and I feel like I was defending myself very well. Very well. And what was going on is Juley wasn't getting any headway. I wasn't getting any headway. And here's what I feel was going on. I think Hallie knew she knew it was wrong, what they were doing. But they had like a friendship or a bias going on. And I think that Hallie likes to choose the path of least resistance, or what she thinks is the path of least resistance, because Juley throws a shit fit. She's a 63-year-old toddler. She throws shit fits like a toddler because she also has disorders going on. She's disconnected completely from reality. Like she is like way gone, because on February 2nd, they brought in a at-home drug test that showed that they said Carter took it. It showed he tested positive for amphetamines and benzodiazepine, if I pronounce that right. And they said this occurred on December 3rd, and they were bringing it up on February 2nd when I wasn't even in the courtroom. And it wasn't supposed to be discussed on February 2nd. It was supposed to be discussed on February 5th. She was going to use this evidence, this claim, to ruin my FC 3044 hearing. And I have that declaration dated from Juley to prove it. So what happened was Hallie believed them there, and also had an opportunity for the path of least resistance, because I wasn't in the courtroom to defend myself, decided to do an emergency protection order removing all custody, and did an anti-abduction order. And on that anti-abduction order said that I had a history of child abuse, abusing the child, and evading with him, when Olivia is the one that was found guilty of 278.5 twice, which is withholding. She's the one that actually was found guilty of that, and she was found guilty of that just like 2 months prior to when you made that illegal order, when Hallie made that illegal order. So it's been since January 28th was the last time I saw him, when I took him to Elevate. And the last time I saw him, he was crying because he didn't want to go back to his mother's. So the last time I saw my child, he was crying on January 28th. I have had no contact, no phone call, not even on Father's Day. And that just goes to prove how malicious Olivia is. and that just goes to prove why she's going to end up losing full custody because of the child abuse. I'm going to prove that they used the color of law to kidnap a child. If you could prove that under 18 U.S.C. 242, it's a life sentence in federal prison. That's just one of the charges. I got about 16 federal charges on him, probably about 18 state, and about 8 or 9 constitutional violations. So this isn't one of those situations where I had a reason to have my child taken. There was no reason for it. There was literally no reason. Because on February 8th, I filed a 56-page response with the medical record from the hospital, because she took him to the hospital on December 3rd, tested all negative for all drugs. And they told her on the medical report that her at-home drug test that they brought into court was defective, and that he did not have drugs in his system. Not only that, but benzodiazepine, which I attached as evidence from DEA.gov. Benzodiazepine, if you guys are aware of what that is, it's Xanax. And she said that he was bouncing off the walls. And so the medical personnel said he was WNL. Well, I asked the nurse what that was. It's within normal limits. He's normal. He was normal. And except his ketones were abnormal and his protein levels were abnormal, which tells me that she's given him a bunch of sugar and he's malnourished. And we have a history of diabetes in my family. I have type 2 diabetes. So does my brother and my dad. So she's going to give our kid, because she's too lazy, like she used to give Viviana sugar, just nothing but sugar. Everything in her lunch box was all sugar. Everything. And because she would buy the prepackaged manufactured shit and she's just too lazy to cook, so she would just throw it in there. When she lived here, I did all the dishes. I would do the laundry. She didn't cook. Like, I did it all. I did everything. And then she just destroyed the house. I have videos to prove that too. Destroyed the house, belittled me, yelled at me, told me I was the reason why my past girlfriend committed suicide. Just total abuse, gnarly abuse. And me being a man, I just ignored it, But of course it takes a toll on you. But so she goes down and files a DVRO against me because I was claiming that she was exhibiting narcissistic personality disorder in a text message. Wasn't even in front of the kids. So that's what's going on. And it's disgusting. And I showed that to Beiersdorf on his last recusal, 12 pages of a recusal. And it was pretty rough. It was, I feel really bad. I feel bad because when he recused himself, he looked upset with himself. And that's a lot. That's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. But I could tell you one thing, as soon as I saw his demeanor and that he accepted the recusal like that, I felt bad for putting it, because he literally looked at me, he's like, you didn't have to put so much in there. And he was like upset. I'm like, so I told him, sorry, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. There's no but. I'm sorry that I had to do that. And now I'm backed into a corner. I still haven't seen my kid. So I'm filing this federal lawsuit because I have to. I don't have a choice. What else am I supposed to do? I have to get my kid back. They took my kid on unconstitutional grounds for no reason. You can't just take a kid for no reason. So it has to be clear and convincing evidence. I didn't even get preponderance of evidence. I got fraudulent evidence. I got my kid taken on fraudulent evidence. That's kidnapping. And then Juley filed a civil restraining order against me based on me filming in public from a public sidewalk. You can't fucking do that. Like, do you guys realize you're in the United States still? Or did you forget that this is the United States and we still have a constitution? I think you did, which is kind of sad knowing that you guys both work in law. One's a judge, one's an attorney that deals with kids. That's why I'm doing the writ of mandamus to have your license revoked. So I recused Hallie too. She refused to recuse herself, even though she proved bias. It wasn't. You can recuse a judge just if you feel there's a bias. I sent her about 9 pages worth of evidence to prove that she gave favors. Okay, unless you allow an attorney and a mother to have ex parte communication with you on a normal basis all the time, that's called playing favorites. And that is first of all a due process violation for me, because I wasn't even present, and I have a right to face my accuser also under the 6th Amendment. you can't take custody from a child or from a parent that's active, has an active role, and had already established a parental role with that child, which I did. Like, you guys, oh man, you guys are fucked. Unless you guys are paying off a federal judge, you guys are fucked.